What up, Bulls Nation? We've got a live CHGO Bulls podcast coming up right now. On today's show, updates from today's practice, including Ayo Dosunmu's thumbs, plural, and some words from him on the team's effort recently. Plus minus, what trends do we like? Which trends do we not like as much in the Bulls' last stretch of games? Also, interesting questions being posed to the Bulls front office by ESPN's Bobby Marks earlier this week. What should the Bulls be doing between now and that February 7th trade deadline? And we'll round things out with a bit of news from the People's Insider, Jake Fischer, who made note of the Bulls getting a disabled player exception for their done-for-the-year rookie, Noa Essengue. All ahead next. What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome into the CHGO Bulls podcast. Coming to you live from our studios here in West Loop, downtown Chicago. CHGO Bulls is presented by Michelob Ultra and Bet365. The delicious taste of victory deserves something equally superior. Cheer on your team with Michelob Ultra and download the Bet365 app with promo code CHGO365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. I'm Peck, Bulls_Peck. That's Big Day. Bow! BAWL Sports, rocking the brand new and delicious Nikola Ultra hat. Will Gottlieb. Hey, king of the controls, one and only Joey C. What up, Joey?
The GOAT's definitely got a Garth from Wayne's World vibe going on right now.
A little bit.
Michelob Ultra, right next to the Michelob Ultra hat, Michelob Ultra
Santa's
beer.
favorite elf kind of look right there. I'm digging it, though.
I don't know what the middle ground there is, but
Yeah, it's there.
Probably.
You're finding it. We'll tell you that,
Probably
buddy.
finding it.
You're finding it.
What the middle ground there is we need a reboot of Wayne's World, but with Christmas themes.
Okay.
Like, you know,
I would not be opposed to that.
Yeah. Wayne and Garth go to the North Pole.
Okay. I can
I
see
mean,
that.
if the Harold and Kumar franchise got one of those, then
They did.
I think
Yeah.
Wayne's World
If
deserves
Fast
one
and
of
Furious
those.
can go to space, then
Yeah, bingo.
you got to
Wayne
have a
and Garth
Christmas
save
one
Christmas, yeah.
in your trilogy. That ends the trilogy. That's how it goes. Like Friday, the same way.
Pretty
Like
young
theirs
one.
was, the last one was Christmas. That is true. You've got to end the trilogy with the holiday.
There you go. Meanwhile, there is some objection in the chat. This is a fine day saying that, we can't have the hat covering up the coif.
That's fair.
all right.
I mean, it's fair.
Shout out
Look out,
also
like nothing happened.
in that chat to one of our newest MVP members of the CHGO Sports YouTube channel, Randy Brooks.
Hey.
Welcome to the Cool Kids Club. Just a
Shout out to
reminder,
him.
you can all join and become official members of the CHGO Sports YouTube channel for added content, perks, and bonuses. Israel Kuraz in the chat. Hi, guys. This team sucks. Happy Tuesday. Bear down.
Yes, yes, and yes.
Bing, bing, bing. Lots to get to today. Before we dive into our pluses and minuses, wanted to touch on a couple updates from practice today. Goat, you were there.
Oh, yeah.
Heard from Ayo Dosunmu, who has missed their last couple of games dealing with what I learned today when he was speaking to y'all. Not one, but two injured thumbs? What can you tell us?
Yeah, so one of them he injured in preseason. It was against the Nuggets, and he's
Awesome.
been dealing with that. That's his left hand. The one that's more of an issue right now is his right hand. Obviously, that's a shooting hand, in which he has a grade 1 sprain in his thumb and a bone bruise. So I'm just looking it up now here on the game logs, but I believe he's missed a handful of games in a row, the last two, and then he missed one. He played one against the Warriors and then missed the previous game against Indiana. You know, we asked him, like, is this going to be a long-term thing? Are you going to be, is it like you just need to let this heal? Is there going to be a procedure? He said it's going to be a time thing and then a pain tolerance thing. But he said he's going to go through shoot around tomorrow and see how he feels and maybe play. I believe he's listed as questionable on the injury report. It's a little surprising, though, to me that he's trying to get back so soon. If it is a pain tolerance thing, like, you'd maybe think that he would want to, like, let it completely heal. But, you know, he wants to go out there. He said he's working on different methods of taping up his thumb to try to prevent it from getting hurt. But, like, the reality is it's a contact sport. He's probably going to get it banged around here and there, and he's just got to play through it. So unfortunate that it's his shooting hand. When you're, like, catching the ball and handling the ball, that's obviously going to play a big role too. So we'll have to monitor that. But it wouldn't surprise me if it's like he's back and then he injures it and then he misses a couple games and he's back for a couple games, and it's just kind of a nagging thing because it's his shooting hand, his dominant hand, and a big part of obviously his game.
Not ideal.
Not ideal at all, man. Just
I mean,
just
I
more
guess the
stuff.
good news is that he is basically not counting Noah, who's done for the season and wasn't really playing anyway. He's the last one back. Like, they got everybody else back from that stretch of games where they were missing half of their, main rotation guys. So if Ayo misses a game here or there, or at some point gets to, as you pointed out, go like a just pain tolerant situation, we all know Ayo was a tough dude.
Very.
He was playing through much worse with that shoulder last season.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So we'll keep an eye on it. We hope to see him. I believe our pal Drew Stevens from the Bigs pointed out on Twitter earlier this afternoon the preliminary injury report for tomorrow night's game against the Cavs. He is officially listed as questionable. So we'll see if it goes up or down from there.
Yeah.
Ayo also spoke about the team's recent struggles, having dropped 8 of their last 9 games, and saying similar things to some of his teammates and Billy Donovan about this talent-deficient team needing to bring more than 100% effort every single night. Joseph.
Like Coach said, everyone comes in here and shoots. You see after practice, everyone in here shoot. Everyone wants to make shots, right? But you can't control that. But you control effort, playing hard, rebounding. And I think that's what we got to get back to. If you look at the time, the games we were winning, we started off 5-0. Not to keep bringing that up because it's over with, but all those games, it was close games. We was playing hard, And I think we got to get back to that. And that's the main recipe. We're not playing hard enough, and we're not giving ourselves a chance to win. So that's the main thing that I'm harping on. Just everyone playing harder. If you playing hard, play harder.
Why do you guys think you have stopped playing so hard?
I don't know. I think I can think it could become a mental thing, like a psyche, like you're not making shots, or you're not playing to the level you want to play to, that it can get in some of our, as a team collectively, get in our heads. I think that's a selfish way to think, but just looking back at it, I think that has to be one of the problems.
So that final thought from Ayo there is something that Bulls fans might sound familiar to them, is because we've heard Billy say it before too. On nights when we're missing our shots, it bleeds into our effort in other areas, and that's something that we can't afford to have happen. Dave, curious what you think about that kind of comment from Ayo. That's not a new comment at this point for Bulls fans, and this one personally, it's just frustrating to hear a millionth time.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. It's like, okay, I hear it. We're hearing it again and again and again. And this isn't a diss to Ayo for saying this. He's stating what it is, and you telling exactly what it is out there. So I get that point, but it's like, yeah, I've heard it. It's like your parent when they repeat the same thing kind of over and over and over again to you. Yeah, I get it, So I guess the question is, how do we change it? And I do like him say, like, we have to be tougher. We got to play harder. Like he was like, if you say you're playing hard, then we got to play harder than that. All that is true. All that is factual. It's just I haven't seen it, from the team. I see it from certain guys on the team. Ayo is definitely a guy you see it from, probably the most consistent player outside of Josh Giddey on the team. Giddey's another person I see it from when it comes to playing hard. And Dalen Terry is another guy I see it from when it comes to playing hard. Everyone else, it kind of comes and goes, and it's kind of ebbs and flows with it. Situational, I guess, is the best way to kind of put it. And it can't be like that. And again, let me say something that they have all said also. They're not good enough to play that way. They have to have that consistency in how they attack every single night. It's why you see Billy call those early timeouts immediately, because he feels that effort isn't there for the team and how they're playing right now, or they're not playing hard enough. It's why the rotations have to continually be like they are, as far as let me try this, let me try that, let me try this, let me try that. Sometimes those things are like that because of the way and the effort that guys are putting in. But I mean, I love Ayo, bro. Just watching that and listening to him, it's like, man, I love the accountability that he takes. I love how he puts it on himself and on the team that, we have got to get better and we can play better and we can be better with that. So he doesn't lose that aspect of positivity in his voice and how he plays either. But man, we're gonna need more Ayo Dosunmu's on the team. Mentality wise and talent wise, you need more.
Yeah, I mean, he's honest, right? Like, he's
Yeah.
telling the truth. And I appreciate that he's, like, willing to go there. And we talked to Billy about some of the same stuff, too. And he was saying, like, he doesn't feel like it's effort as much as it is, like, execution. And, like, sometimes I think the two go hand in hand. But one of the things he was saying is, like, it doesn't take, like, physical effort to communicate.
Right.
But we need to, like, put more effort into communication. And I think that's a good example of, like,
important.
what they mean, where it's, like, clearly they come out and they look good at the start of the games. And if they aren't shooting the ball well, then maybe their effort wanes a little bit, and then they kind of unravel. And, like, you know, we were talking about, like, Billy's role in all of this, and I get that people are going to place blame on him because he's the coach, and, you know, when they're not playing well, like, the coach gets a piece of that. For me, you know, one thing that Billy says a lot is, like, when he's talking about, like, players and development and things like that, he's like, if you look at them in batches of 10 games, like, maybe they have one game where they don't play up to their standard, where they're not playing like their best. And that's how you know a guy's a really great player, if he's playing 9 out of 10 games at a really high level. And, like, you think about that in terms of this Bulls team, and it's like, yeah, they've shown that they can have a stretch where they look really good, and when they are playing consistently, but more often than not, this year at least, they have not been consistent in that. And so to me, it's like, that's a problem with the quality of the team, is, like, the team can't get to a consistent level. That's a talent thing to me. Mm-hmm. It's not like a lack of effort. I think the effort, you know, we see it sometimes with certain players, like, it looks there and sometimes it doesn't, but, like, the ability to play to a consistent level is a talent thing to me. And, like, they're showing that they just can't do that consistently. And that's kind of the problem. Caruso talked about this a bunch over the years, where it was like, we've shown we can do it, but we haven't done it consistently. DeMar said that. Zach said that. Billy has said that. It's like, the consistency is the problem. Nobody is sitting here and saying these guys are trash, they can't play. They've proven that they can do it. It's just they cannot do it consistently. Yeah. They've even shown that they can get to a high level in games or for a stretch of games. But the lack of consistency there is the real problem. And not being able to do that is the source of all of it for me.
And maddening.
And, yeah, to that point, Jeff Brock's in the chat saying, even when they do play with effort, the other team also has effort and talent.
Exactly.
So the effort factor cancels out, and they get out talented.
And that's to me.
Funny how that works.
That's to me the thing with the roster is, like, basically you go through the off season and you're happy with the way you finish the season, and I understand why they finished well, but, like, their strategy was, like, we're gonna play with physicality, we're gonna play with effort, we're gonna play with pace. But you're seeing that up across the board with all of these teams. And so when you talk about, like, the way that they're playing, they're leaning all the way into that style. Mm-hmm. And so when other teams match them, they don't have another level to get to.
True.
And I don't think there is, like, a counter. They can't just say, well, now that other teams are playing like this, we have to completely flip our style. Like, it would take a lot to change that. It would take probably a different roster to change their style, because they're really, I think, built to their personnel as far as what those strengths and weaknesses are. And so you can't just go away from that. There's not, like, an in-game adjustment that Billy can do that's like, okay, we're going to now become a half-court isolation team. Like, they don't have that. So they have to lean even further. But when teams continue to match that, the talent gap is, I think, what's getting exposed.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I was just saying to Travis McKnight in the chat a second ago. Like, what do you expect when you're trying to run this system? It'll lead to your team getting tired. It'll lead to you guys getting dinged up with injuries. And to me, it's like, for the people who have a gripe with Billy about the Bulls running this system or trying to, I think it is the best of a handful of not very good options.
Sure.
When you try to make up for a talent deficit by playing faster and harder than your opponents every night, it can work for the first 5 games of the season. But then it stops working because you're a one-trick pony, and you don't have more reliable half-court sets to go to. You don't have more reliable half-court isolation scoring monsters on this team to go to say, go get me a bucket. This team does not, like, they just don't have that. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to the issue of we don't like this system, this run fast, play fast, and, you know, recently chuck up and miss a lot of threes, it's not great. I do not know what they could be, what Billy should be putting out there differently as far as their style of play that would lead to better results than this. Because, like, take, for example, the fact that when the Bulls have gotten bogged down by their opponents dictate the pace of play, the style of play, things get mucked up and physical in the half court. The Bulls don't lose close. The Bulls lose big when that's the case.
And it's because they don't have a bunch of shooters. They're, like, playing with, you know, and I'm not saying, like, these guys can't shoot. Like, Giddey's shooting 40% this year. Okoro's having, you know, has been consistent. But, like, these guys aren't being guarded. So you're playing against set defenses and you're not really able to break them down with your personnel, the play style was built to cater to the roster. And so if there's problems there, I think it's a problem with the roster construction. And again, not a individual criticism of any of these players. They obviously are all talented and they obviously can get to a certain level, but the lack of consistency is, I think, the problem that needs to be addressed.
Real quick shout out before break to DeColdest Jenkins, who threw us a $2 super chat saying they should have hit the reset button like 2 years ago. SMH. Yeah. Facts. All right. We got to knock out an ad. We'll come back on the other side and dive into our pluses and minuses for the past week of Bulls action. What do we like? What do we not? That's all ahead next. Hit the like button. It's free.
You can be good. Yes, you, Joey C. You can be good. You can. But, Joey C., you can be great.
Better.
Joey Christopoulos, he's great. But if you want to be ultra like Joey C. Christopoulos, Michelob Ultra, ladies and gentlemen, that's what I present to you right there. Because whether it's can or bottle, once it hits your lips, it's full throttle, fast and furious. Oh, why? Big Dave, is there a cool hat sitting there? And what makes it ultra? Shout out to the Michelob Ultra people sending us more awesome swag. That's why that hat is sitting there. 2.6 carbs, 95 calories. Superior smooth taste, worth playing for. Also the official American beer sponsor for your Chicago Bills. Superior game meets superior taste. What up, superior game? What up, superior taste? Meet each other, say hi. So no matter what you're playing for, ladies and gentlemen, just make it superior with Michelob Ultra. Be Ultra Magnetic.
CHGO Bulls also brought to you by Bet365. And right now, with their early payout offer, you are a winner if your team goes up by 17 points with an instant payout offer on straight bets and parlay selections marked as winners. Download the Bet365 app and use promo code CHGO365. And when you do that and place your first $5 bet, you're going to get $150 in bonus bets to use on just about anything. Spreads, props, totals, futures, and more. Plus, they have something for you every night of the pro football season. Thursday Night Football, $10 safety net bet. Sunday Night Football, $365,000 jackpot. That's a lot of cash.
Ching, ching.
And Monday Night Football, 50% super profit boost token on same game parlay. Shout out to Darren Waller, whose 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns last night got me paid. Bless that man's heart. That could have been you. Double your winnings on parlays with Bet365's 100% parlay boost. Download that app. Use promo code CHGO365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, is never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. CHGO Bulls back rolling along on Tuesday afternoon. Thanks for being here with us, Bulls Nation. Hit that like button if you didn't do it during the ad break. Quick reminder before we dive back into our topics for today that this coming Friday, December 19th, 5:30 p.m. Central Time, we are going to be hanging out down the street at Rinaldi's, one of our favorite neighborhood spots here in the West Loop. Great pizza, great vibes, delicious Michelob Ultras, and, of course, our Papa Shot Showdown.
Bang.
Winner gets free Bulls tickets. Ooh. And if you are the winner and say, man, I'm so sick of these Bulls right now, you know what you could do with those tickets that you get for free by winning the Papa Shot contest? Show up and boo if they're playing like crap. Shout out to everybody who was booing them at the end of Sunday night's game. It's true. So come hang out with us. Free to attend. No need to RSVP. That's where we will be Friday night. We got Bulls Cavs action on deck that night. We'll hang out. We'll watch some Bulls Cavs basketball together.
I am.
And talk some Bulls and have a little Papa Shot contest.
Try and beat the GOAT.
Joey C., are you showing up?
Good luck.
What's up?
You showing up?
TBD.
Still TBD.
I'm going to ask him every time. Like, I know that.
Still TBD.
I like how he was like, what's that?
Tease it all week. TBD.
All right, y'all. Now let us dive into Plus Minus. And Plus Minus is presented by our friends at Michelob Ultra. The delicious taste of victory. Deserves something equally superior to cheer on your team with Michelob Ultra. Come drink some with us at the Hangout Papa Shot contest on Friday.
All of them.
All right, who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Go, Dave.
Let me get into it, baby.
Get in.
Into my plus and minus. Da-da-da-da. Let's start with the plus.
Oh.
The Velvet one.
The only one who shot
The Velvet
decently?
Wonder.
The only one.
On Sunday?
Yes, correct. I believe he was 6 of 11 from the field. 16 points, I believe he had. And it was just good to see him back on the floor. I know Billy was really happy having him back on the floor. What a great safety valve, having a guy like that. But also, what I think doesn't get talked about enough is just how fiery that young man is when he's playing on the floor. He don't like people when he's playing on the floor. And I really like that about him. And he vocalizes it. and he plays a little, more harsh, a little more tough on the defensive end with those kind of situations. But he is just an excellent safety valve for a team that is struggling from the three-point shot as a team. Of course, there are guys who can shoot, but as a team that's struggling, he's somebody you see when he takes that three-point shot, you're comfortable with it. Doesn't matter from where he's doing it. You're like, oh, yeah, take that. That's fine. And he takes it again. Yeah, sure, shoot that again. That's fine. And, yeah, the IQ is high. Just the way he can kind of act as a somewhat salve in some situations for the team on the offensive end is important. And just giving Billy Donovan those options, especially in that fourth quarter, when it's time, when he wants to decide who's on the floor to close the game. Kevin Huerter, man, if he's got it going, Billy's going to go with him. And sometimes if he doesn't have it going, Billy's going to go with him. And in most cases, it's not a bad decision to do that. So shout out Kevin Huerter for getting back on the floor. He was sorely missed. He is sorely needed for this team if they want to continue to try to have, winning expectations. You're going to need that kind of guy out there.
And it seemed like it could have been a much longer term injury for him. So for him to only miss a couple games, I think it's been good news. And he was awesome. I think he was 5 for something in the last game from 3. So they really need that.
4 of 8. Yeah, you need that.
Yeah, and look, I'm curious to see if Huerter continues to have his shot. And simultaneously, we get more Isaac Noscoro kind of games from Okoro. If Billy, we've seen Billy throw Huerter into that starting lineup at times because of injury situations with other guys and out of necessity, but also sometimes by choice. Yeah. So and dating back to last season as well when he arrived in the trade. So hopefully Okoro can find his shot too, and if he does, obviously I think for defensive purposes, point of attack defense, Billy will stick with Okoro in that starting lineup. But something to monitor for sure. Yeah. Especially if the Bulls' best shot at winning every night is outscoring their opponent.
Yeah, you're going to need that guy, man. And again, the toughness. I really like the toughness that he brings. That's part of that effort that I like seeing from the team out there. You're going to get that from Kevin Huerter. And I like what Stacey King says when somebody has challenged a play, a coaching challenge. He's like, man, if Kevin Huerter is saying it happened, then it happened. Yeah. And he's 3 for 3 in that when he's done that. So, yeah, man, he's awesome. Hey, Julia. He's awesome.
All right, Dave, what's your minus?
Billy Donovan.
There you go, Billy haters.
Yeah.
There's some fodder.
Yeah, let's get into it then. Billy, and it's not that in everything that what's your name, Matt? Everything that they said in the last segment, I echo and I agree with. What I will never agree with is effort. And I always put that stuff on the coach. Not all of it, but I definitely put more majority of that stuff on the coach. And sometimes I would see them out there, and they didn't look like they wanted to play. And they didn't like they knew what they were doing out there on the floor. It was like, why are we out here, man? We're just doing stuff. And I have an issue with that. And for me, that I lean those things on the coach a lot because for me, that comes with preparation. Is having that effort and being ready to play all the time. Again, when I brought up Tib, I don't care who's out there playing, it's going to be 5 Met Pecks out there on the floor, even if you're getting your ass whipped by 30. It's still going to be that kind of effort. It doesn't matter, you know what I mean, who's out there on the floor. That is going to happen because that is what the standard is for the coach that's coaching them right there. Also, Patrick Williams should not be playing more minutes than Modest Uzelis ever. I don't care about the situational, of that. I'm not coaching Patrick Williams on situational things anymore. He's lost that privilege for me.
Reach.
That he can't have that anymore. So now I'm looking at Modest and growing him and getting him better and doing those things. That's where my head is at on there when it comes to that. So those things I don't like. And then the one thing I really didn't like, I can't remember what he said, but I just remember how everybody was it was very Boylan-esque in his speak when he said his line, you should never have that comparison accurately attached to you. I really hate it. And again, y'all know it, not here to blame Billy for everything that's going on here. But everybody gets a piece of this, when it happens that way. Because at the end of the day, when you bottom line it, his record is 205 and 220 with the Bulls. That's not good. So, yeah, he gets a minus for me. I think just got to be a little bit better on that, getting those guys ready to play.
All right, Go. What do you got?
All right, I'm going to start with my minus here because the plus plays off
You
of
love
it.
starting with the minus. I like that in you.
I like to finish on a positive note.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm a
Yeah, he likes
positive
his
guy. I'm a
vegetables
positive
first.
guy.
Yeah.
The minus is the 3-point situation that's going on right now. I'm calling it the 3-point differential. In October, the Bulls shot 40.2% on threes. Their opponents shot 30.1% on threes. The Bulls averaged 13.2 more points per game from three than their opponents. And surprise, surprise, the Bulls went 5-0. In November, opponents.
You can be good.
Or I'm sorry, in November, Bulls shot 36.4%. Opponents, 37.3%. The Bulls averaged plus 0.9 points per game, pretty much a wash. And the Bulls went 4-10 in November. In December so far, the Bulls are shooting 32% on threes. Their opponents are shooting 39.1% on threes. And their opponents are averaging 10.8 more points per game on threes than their opponents. And you guessed it, the Bulls are 1-5. So for me, the negative is the 3-point shooting. Like, the Bulls are just not shooting well and their opponents are shooting well. And so that leads me to the positive, which is the regression element, which is just like, they're not going to be a 32% 3-point shooting team and their opponents are probably not going to be a 40% 3-point shooting team. And so once those things level out and regress towards the mean into like the mid-30s area where I think the Bulls belong and probably where their opponents belong too, I think the record will look, it might be closer to 4-10, which obviously isn't great, which is what they were in November, but it'll be something much better than 1-5. And I think that element of it, like as we talked with Ayo today, like that element I think will prevent the Bulls from kind of spiraling in a lot of cases, because sometimes it just seems like their opponents are getting hot and they're missing their shots. And it's just like, they kind of put up their arms and it's like, we don't know what to do here anymore. And so I think just by virtue of the fact that naturally these shots are going to come down for opponents and go up for the Bulls, maybe that'll keep them more in games. Maybe they'll get hot and win some games off their own 3-point shooting, but that should in some sense just make them more competitive.
Yeah. I mean, Bulls fans have been talking about that problem for years now.
Yeah.
The 3-point disparity, it's bad, and the recent trend is all kinds of bad.
All kinds of
So
bad.
where's the silver lining for you, Goat?
Dessert, baby.
The silver lining is just the mathin' and the Bulls being a little bit more competent as a 3-point shooting team, and hopefully their defense looks a little bit more competent too.
And the plus? Regression? All right. Well, with that, mine are pretty simple. I loved hearing boos on Sunday. I really did.
Jam.
Somebody in the chat earlier I saw pointed out the sparse crowd at the UC on Sunday for their
I
home
love that
game.
word.
Could be a combination of a few things. It was a Bears Sunday. Everybody in this town is way more focused on them right now, as they should be. One of these is a winning team. Blisteringly cold day. And because it was a makeup game on their schedule, one of the fill-in gap games, because the Bulls for infinity year that it has existed, failed to advance in the NBA in-season tournament. So for all those reasons, pretty light crowd. I like that I saw a light crowd.
Sure.
But I also will say, always, as I have many times, fan how you want to fan. If you want to go support this team at the UC right now, go for it. If you want to go to the UC right now and you watch them play, and the way that they're playing, performance and effort collectively, feels like something that you, as a Bulls fan who wants competitiveness, wins, something resembling what we all used to love about this team, if you feel like that's not there and you want to boo, go boo. I love it. I love it when fans do that. It is your right. Like, there is a line that I think shouldn't be crossed when you talk about some of the fan behavior with people in the lower bowl saying things to players. Sure. Like, you don't want to ever be that kind of fan.
Sure.
Or, like, at least like, for all of the things that I yell about and scream about and throw hats about, I'm not doing that towards players at a game.
Yeah.
Like, have that level of respect. But doesn't mean you can't boo.
That's true.
If the team deserves to be booed. Maybe point. Use your hands, find that owner's box, and boo that direction. So I like that. Honestly, I hope we see more of it, because maybe it'll get their goddamn attention.
Yeah, booing's fun when you're doing it, because you're letting out some aggression and some emotion about what you're watching and seeing on the floor. I love the fact that you're saying it is your right. It is your absolute right to do it. When you purchase a ticket, you can cheer or you can boo. You can do either one. And when your team isn't out there performing at the level that you feel that they should be performing and you don't like what the organization is doing as far as what they're putting on the floor, you can put that one word out there and stretch it with a bunch of O's. Abuse. Just like that.
Yeah, it's such an interesting Homo sapien thing, right? Where it's like you can obviously money is the easiest way to get ownership's or front office's attention.
Sure.
If you don't go to the games or don't pay for the tickets, then unfortunately, then they have no other recourse than to try and put money in your pocket. But if you still want to go, and if you're a Bulls fan, you can still go there and let them know your frustration and you're fed up. And it's so funny that you could come up with some sort of eloquent 2-paragraph soliloquy that you could scream into the box of the Reinsdorfs, but a collective hundreds of people just saying boo.
Yes.
It's strange.
Yeah.
It gets the job done.
And it hits differently at the
gets the point
UC.
across.
Once it hits your lips, it hits differently at the UC. I don't know why.
I can't believe they're booing me. Believe it. And quickly, my mine is going to lead us right into the ad break and what we're going to talk about on the other side of it, which is I have a tough time seeing the Bulls' way out of this right now.
Oh, that's what that means. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Where is their way out of
Okay.
where they are stuck right now?
Trapped in the maze.
I don't easily see it.
Yeah.
We got to knock
fiery
out a couple
maze.
more ads. We'll come back on the other side and talk about the question that Bobby Marks has for the Bulls front office because it's a humdinger of a question. Hit that like button if you didn't do it the first time. Over 100 watching, only 20-something likes. Let's get those likes up. Come on now.
Come on.
Hit the like. We'll be right back.
Dilly of a pickle. Looking for that perfect gift for the holiday season? Of course you are. Guess what? I'm going to give it to you. Aura frames, ladies and gentlemen. They are amazing and awesome. Why? Well, guess what? You can upload as many photos into that frame as you want, give it to your loved one, and share that love of the photos that you are giving them with the people. Unlimited free photos and video. Just download that Aura app, connect it to the Wi-Fi, and there you go. You can preload photos before it even ships. You can keep adding photos anywhere, anytime. That, ladies and gentlemen, is absolutely amazing. And for a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com and get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames, named #1 by Wirecutter, using that promo code CHGO at checkout. That's AURA frames.com. Promo code CHGO. This deal is exclusive to listeners out there, so get yours now before it sells out. Terms and conditions apply.
CHGO Bulls is also brought to you by Prize Picks.
Prize Picks.
It's the holiday season, y'all. What a lovely time. The best time of year for sports. Bowl games, basketball matchups. We got the NBA Cup Championship tonight.
Boom.
Playoff pushes. It's all happening right now. And while you and I are out here making decisions every day, what gifts to buy for our loved ones, what to eat, which games to watch, there's one place where it feels good to be right. And that is Prize Picks. Maybe your fantasy season is already over. That's the case for me. I made the playoffs in one of my 2 leagues. I got to play spoiler this week for a playoff-bound team. But you know what? You want the action yourself. So if your team is cooked, don't wait until next year's draft. Prize Picks lets you play fantasy football every week. Pick your favorite players and win when they hit their projections every week. No draft required. So what are you waiting for? Download the Prize Picks app today. Use promo code CHGO to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CHGO to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right.
Bang.
Hey, Joey, we back.
Joey TVD.
Hey, we're back.
Bulls Nation, thanks for being here with us. We roll along. All right, next thing on deck, Bobby Marks, capologist, and all other kinds of things for ESPN NBA coverage, had a column the other day, NBA trade deadline, and the big question every front office is facing in this trade window. In case you missed it, here's what Bobby Marks had to say about the Bulls. I don't know if you have that screenshot and want to throw it up, Joey. Instead of using cap space during an average free agent class this summer, is it more logical for Chicago to identify players under contract for next season? The Bulls have 7, count them 7, on expiring contracts. Vooch, Zach Collins, Kevin Huerter, Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, Javon Carter, and Dalen Terry. If the Bulls allow those contracts to expire, they could have close to $70 million in money to spend in the offseason, but on an average free agent class.
Ooh.
That last part.
Yeah.
That last part.
Yeah. It feels like when they can't hear it, they're like, yeah, average. Right up the alley, baby.
I mean, should we go through some free agents? I got the list up.
Oh, go talk,
Go.
baby.
Hit
Number
me.
1, LeBron Raymond James.
Deal.
Unrestricted free agent.
Deal.
Age 42.
Come on.
Come on down.
Come on down.
You've got Trae Young. He's got a player option. You want a reunion with Zach LaVine? He's got a player option I don't think he's opting out of. You got James Harden, player option. And then it's like CJ McCollum, Chris Middleton, Kristaps Porzingis. Hardenstein would be great, but the Thunder have a team option on him. Wiggins got a player option. Tobias Harris is a free agent. Van Vliet has a player option. Draymond has a player option. And then it's like Anthony Simons, John Collins, Terry Rozier. I don't even think he'll be in the NBA next year. Kuminga has a team option. KCP has a player option. Vooch, Harrison Barnes, Norman Powell. He could be good, but he's 33 already.
He could be great.
And then it's like Colin Sexton, Nurkic, Collins, Bogdanovich, Hachimura, Lou Dort has a club option. Kevin Huerter, Mitchell Robinson. Austin Reeves is probably the big name, but he has a player option, and he's probably going to get a max contract from the Lakers. So just not a lot of guys out there. So I think Bobby Marks is what we're going to talk about here is like there's just not a lot of guys. I think the Bulls need to come up with a different pathway to use this flexibility that they're talking about having, which is true, and it's a good thing, but they need to turn it into something productive, and free agency is really not going to be a place where you can do that.
Yeah, especially, you just mentioned Austin Reeves. I saw people talking about him in our chat earlier on in today's show. Like, the Lakers are locking that up. They know LeBron James is 57 years old, and the future is about Luka and Austin Reeves. And so, like, when it comes to that or anything else, Israel in the chat saying, yay for flexibility, ha-ha. I think that, like, we also saw a lot of what was supposed to be the top-tier, prize free agents of this 2026 draft class that AK was talking about get swallowed up by just signing huge extensions with their own teams.
Yeah.
So, like, this free agent class dried up pretty freaking quickly. Mm-hmm. And now...
And I think, just to add to that, I think free agency itself is drying up. Like, teams are just extending their guys. They're not really letting people get to free agency. And so you have to be more creative with your cap space. And that's what that's what their challenge is going to be.
So that, of course, then begs the question, with all of this money coming off of their books and all of this financial flexibility that AK has been so happy and excited to have, should they be better served making these moves now in season? Because if you are a Bulls fan or a Bulls front office member that has legitimate optimism about the Bulls going out and swinging big sacks of money around this summer, A, who are those players you're targeting, as Coach has laid out the list for you, and B, how convinced are you that you're going to convince them to pick the Bulls?
There's
the answer to both of those questions is a horrifying, terrible, awful one for Bulls fans.
There's nobody out there worth a max contract right now. Luka was really the guy he extended. De'Aaron Fox is another guy he extended with his team. So there aren't a lot of options. And then on top of that, you think about like what the Bulls have said is important to them from a roster construction standpoint. It's 9 to 10 good players. It's depth. And like, so you're getting a lot of guys coming off your books, or you're getting a lot of money, but you're also having a lot of guys come off your books. And so you have to figure out how many of them do you want to keep? How can you get them to resign? And then are you just running it back with the same team that's been 5 games below 500 since basically the start of November?
Yeah,
so
it feels like even with the expiring contracts that they have, let's say you get rid of them all, it seems like that this free agent class are slightly better versions of that. So it doesn't put you in, like you're saying, in a better position to win. It kind of moves the needle kind of like that, just a little bit, a little tick up. So instead of 39 wins, you go to 41 or something like that. But you're still going to be in that middle with these kind of players.
Yeah. So, of course, like that, Bulls fans thinking, okay, you got 7 expiring contracts. Are you going to try and use any or some of those to try to accumulate assets for what this team is going to try to do moving forward? If you're already calling this season a bust, which I think if you are the Bulls front office's shoes, you should. But then there's 2 different kinds of trades they could be thinking about making here.
Okay.
Between now and the deadline. There's can we trade an expiring player for some, talented young player who's under contract and that we want to bring into this? And AK loves that.
Jam.
Or taking odd bad contracts, swapping your expirings for bad contracts that have more years on them to get picks and assets attached to them. Because, like, to me, if you're talking about Vooch, Dave, like, I know you asked that question, like, what's the top priority for the Bulls front office?
Yes.
Is it finding a trade for Vooch? Finally, they need to move on because he appears to be very ready to be out of here.
Yeah.
And whatever else. Like, I don't think you're getting any value for Vooch right now. Not the way he's playing.
Yeah.
So, to me, We talked a little bit about Kobe and Ayo on yesterday's show, and trying to figure out which of these players on the team right now have value between now and that trade deadline.
Mm-hmm.
I know, I have very little faith that AK is thinking this way, which is frustrating, but you have to be contemplating using this financial flexibility that he was so excited about as what's the phrase you used, Goat? Rental space for other guys on contracts other teams are trying to get off of? You
basically exchange your flexibility for picks. I mean, that's really, I think that's the only logical path forward at this point. You can hope that you can sign guys in free agency. Maybe you can, but it's not going to be like any needle movers, to your point, Dave. And then maybe you just end up striking out and just bringing your team back. And now you don't have flexibility, but you still have the same team. And I think that's worst case scenario. Not that it would just be a disaster. The team wouldn't be any good, but it's you wouldn't be able to point your finger and show any progress. And that should be the point, is to be building somewhere, be progressing towards an outcome that hopefully is something beyond the 9-10 play-in game. So for me, the priority is not about trading Vooch. It's about extracting value wherever you can get it. And if that means you can get something for Vooch, fine. But if that means that you can get something for anybody else in the roster, I think you get that too, because that's just what the Bulls need right now, is they need some bricks that they can start building with. They have a couple of guys here that I think could be around long-term, and maybe they have a couple of guys on top of that they want to keep around long-term, but they just don't have a lot of building blocks that they can move forward with. And I think finding those however you can needs to be the priority for me. Trading expiring contracts to another team to help them with flexibility by taking on a player that's under contract or taking on additional money and saying, great, we'll exchange our flexibility. You guys can have that flexibility, but we're going to need a draft pick out of it. That's what you can start to look at and say, okay, now we can actually start building something. Now we can complement some of the guys that we have on our roster. Or if we do want to blow it up, we have something that we can move forward with, because right now they just really don't.
Yeah, it's true. What I'm about to say is not me disagreeing with anything that you're saying, because I agree 100% with what you're saying. But I like to look at stuff from what I think AK is kind of looking at it as, because for me, that's the reality of the situation and not logical, smart things like Goat says. For me, it is a priority to trade Vooch. And I think it should be a high priority to trade him and get him off the team. One, he's checked out. That's my opinion. I feel like he's done. He's checked out. He's already asking questions. I don't know what I'm here for. Don't know what I'm doing here. And I'm just kind of here in this place. I think another he's happy to take a seat and sit down and let Zach Collins play, because I don't think he really is, there anymore. He's like, okay, great. Yeah, sure. I'll cheer you on. It's whatever. And I think when you have that on your team and the guy with that mentality is also a huge impact player on your team, and arguably one of your top two players on your team, that affects everything on your team. It just does. So that mentality and that kind of thing can be disruptive to your squad out there, that kind of thing. And again, there's tons of proof of that just through the years, through any sport, whatever you want to look at. There's tons of proof leading to that. So if I'm AK and I'm still trying to do something this season, and I still want to move forward with certain things, knowing that I have Zach Collins back, knowing that I've got Jalen Smith back there as well, I'm doing whatever I can to try to get Nikola Vucevic off the team so I can move forward with this, new look of the squad that you have, because they clearly like Zach Collins and they clearly are comfortable with a guy like Jalen Smith as well. And Vuce is clearly ready to not be there anymore. And I think the Bulls kind of owe it to him a little bit to help him out and get him out there and get him on the team. Now, what they can get back, again, this is where they shot themselves, not in the foot, but in the ass, because they could have did this last year, but they would add, they could have, when Vooch even himself set it up beautifully for them to do it last year with the way he was playing,
an all-star,
playing
man.
like a true all-star, what he was doing. And then when teams are calling, you know what I mean, and things like that, and it didn't work out. And now they're like, oh, you want us to take your trash out now? No, we're not doing that. So, yeah, they messed it up themselves. But it should be a priority if they're still thinking about salvaging anything this season. I feel like that it needs to be a priority, and they can't really worry about what they're getting back from that, because you're going to take a loss. You put yourself in a position to take a straight-up L on this situation. So, but that's how they have to approach it, in my opinion, and how they have to look at it going forward.
A few more just quick comments before the break from the chat. Jerry M06 to the question, should trading Vooch be the front office's focus? It is. Get Vooch the F out of here ASAP. Deanna Marie sings, Vooch is done. And Ryan saying, only chance of moving Vooch is sort of a 3 or 4 team mega trade deal where maybe the Bulls scrounge a second round pick out of it. I think that is the most likely outcome.
I got more on that. We can talk about.
You got more on that? Okay.
We
can touch on that on the other side of our last ad break.
What they should do.
And then also touch on the update. Speaking of all the flexibility the Bulls have, Jake Fischer letting us know that the league just granted the Bulls a bit more flexibility. Will they use it? That's next. No. CHGO Bulls is brought to you by Factor. Y'all, the days are shorter. The winter solstice is coming up in just a few days. That's the shortest day of the year. Ooh. You know what that means? Less time to cook, get ready for dinner, whatever the meal. But that's why I love Factor. Their chef-prepared, dietitian-approved meals make it easy to stay on track and enjoy something comforting and delicious no matter how hectic the season is. I love bringing those Factor meals to the office on game nights when we're here working hard. Quick, easy meal that's delicious and healthy. And they got something for you, whatever your diet. If you're a carnivore, like me, maybe you're a pescatarian, like Dave. Maybe you're a vegetarian, rethink your life choices, but they got something for you too. What are you waiting for? Eat smart at factormealkits.com/CHGO50 off and use promo code CHGO50 off to get 50% off your first box, plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code CHGO50 off at factormealkits.com to get 50% off your first box, plus free breakfast for a year. Delicious, ready-to-eat meals delivered with Factor. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase.
Shout out to my baby Ray! Because the vehicles are in store at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, and this is your chance to score a great deal at the year-end sales event. Head to Ray CDJR on Route 12 today to choose from their huge inventory of new Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram vehicles. And right now, you can get $0 down and 0 payments until March on all new CDJR models. Plus, shop over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. That friendly team of brand experts, that's what you get at Ray CDJR, baby. They'll help you through each step of your car shopping journey. Plus, they prioritize affordability, so you won't overpay for a vehicle that you need. Go check out our partner today and shop one of Chicago area's largest inventories and find that new vehicle for yourself. Don't miss out on the year-end sales event for huge savings on new models. For more information, visit Ray CDJR on Route 12 on Fox Lake or online at raycdjr.com.
CHGO Bulls rolling along on Tuesday. Thanks for being here with us, Bulls Nation. Hit that freaking like button if you haven't done it yet. Let's get those likes up. That's not a big enough number of likes, y'all. If you got that live chat window open, here's a quick secret. Just close it for a half second, then find that thumbs up button, click it, and then bring the live chat back up.
Come on, baby.
It takes you 2 seconds.
Just 2.
Go. You said you wanted to add another thought or two to the whole idea of maybe the Bulls getting involved in the multi-team trade?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be a multi-team trade, but I think, if you think about what the options are with Vooch, because I think you're right that if they want to move off of him or they feel like that's better for their future, there can be value in that aside from a draft pick, but I don't think they're getting a draft pick for Vooch at this point. And so you have to consider, what are the options? So you could buy him out right now and just say, go home and we'll pay you the rest of your contract, but you can go find another deal for the rest of this year. I think that's one option, but I would probably want to hang on to him a little bit longer because there's a chance that you could combine him with another player to absorb a worse contract. So, for example, if you take Vooch and you add Huerter or Collins or even Patrick Williams, maybe you can take back a huge contract like Paul George or Joel Embiid or something who are under contract for multiple years, making a huge percentage of the cap. And you can either use that as an opportunity to get off Patrick's deal, or you can use that as an opportunity to say, hey, Daryl Morey, you want some flexibility? You don't have to necessarily use it this summer, but we can get you off of Joel Embiid right now. You don't have to worry about it. You can get a backup center. You can get a replacement center for the year, and then all the flexibility in the world without that contract, but we want to pick out of it. So I think that's kind of the way the Bulls should be thinking about this. And it's also why they can't necessarily do, not to say that's a panic move, but they can't do anything drastic right now before they know what their options are. If they buy Vooch out and say go home right now, and then they get to the trade deadline and all of a sudden they don't have enough expiring money to take on a big contract like that, I think that would be a real bummer. So they need to play this the right way and make sure they understand what all their options are, even though I do understand but again, to me, like the priority there is not getting Vuce off the team. It's how can you put together a situation that extracts value so that you can set yourself up better for the future. And if you get past the trade deadline and nobody wants Vuce, then I think it's time to start thinking about the buyout. But right now, it's got to be who is out there that needs cap relief, because that's what we can offer. We don't really have a lot of draft picks that we can trade. We don't really have a lot of high-level players that we can use to get, a bunch of draft picks. But what we do have is flexibility. How can we leverage that as a currency to other teams to then get draft picks, which is really the currency that they need on their own situation?
Only hang up there is you just use that L word that I don't think AK has in his vocabulary. Leverage. What's that? What's that?
And again, like we can think that Arturas probably won't do some of these things, or we can disagree with the way he does it. But like this is what they objectively should be doing, and I think it's still worth pointing out, even if we don't necessarily think that that's what they're going to do, because that's the standard that we should hold them to as journalists who cover the team, as fans. Like you should want or expect the team to operate in the most prudent and logical way possible. And to me, that's really, it really is. It's the point where it's like, this is the only path forward. I think we talked about this summer, and I think you were kind of surprised to hear it. Like this is the most critical trade deadline of Arturas' career, because you have all this flexibility that you actually have done a good job to get. Like he did a good job setting himself up with flexibility, but as soon as the deadline passes, you're out of that flexibility. It expires. Because you either have to re-sign your guys or sign someone else. Like you can do a kick the can down the road 1+1 with Kevin Huerter and Zach Collins, but you still got to figure out what you're doing with Kobe. And if you sign him to a 3 or 4 year deal, then that cuts into the cap space you could have next year. So this really is the time where they have to use that flexibility, whether it's go out and trade for a player or go out and trade for bad contracts and get picks. Like this is their one chance to really do something that can meaningfully improve their future. And so I just don't want to see them swing and miss on that.
Do the Golden State Warriors picks interest you at all? I know Vuce has always been kind of loosely tied, especially last year, to the Warriors. They are a team that's a little bit older. They're a team that might find themselves in a position to maybe want to make a push in the West. Kobe White and Nikola Vucevic, put them two together. You can make some contracts work, but would the Warriors picks interest you?
I don't know. I think between Post and bringing in Horford, and I know Horford's missed time with injury, but I think that ship has sailed.
I think it could. I think it's not there right now, but if Horford continues to not play well, even though Post is playing well, I do think that they'll need something. They have to figure out what they're going to do with this Jonathan Kuminga situation, and I don't think he has positive value around the league.
No.
Yes, he's on a team-friendly contract in terms of there's a team option, but if you're the Nets or the Wizards or one of these teams, you might want to take a swing at Kuminga, but are you really giving up anything of value to do that when he's going to want a bigger contract this summer? That's the same situation that the Bulls were in with Kobe and with Caruso, where it's you're losing your opportunity to extract maximum value on these guys because you're waiting too long to trade them, and now you have to re-sign them to a deal that's not so team-friendly. So could the Bulls do Vuce for Kuminga or Vuce plus something for Kuminga? Sure, maybe that helps them get another young player with experience who they could build around. I'm not a huge Kuminga guy at this point. I don't think he's a positive asset, but I think it'd be a better long-term bet than Vuce at this point. So sure, but if they're asking for a pick with that, then no. I'm not giving up picks. What they should be doing is getting picks. And if you're asking me what the Warriors are interested, I do think that there's a chance that they could, that their interest in Vuce could be reignited by the way that Horford just hasn't really played well, and the fact that they're a 500 team that needs to do something. And maybe they want to give up a pick for that, but I just don't really see what it would be. The matching salary is a little bit difficult. It'd probably have to be Kuminga. And then at that point, I think they're probably asking you for a pick. So I don't know if it would work there. Maybe it does. But I think injuries could happen. Other trades could happen. There still could be teams that are interested in Vuce. I just don't think that the Bulls are getting probably what they want. But I think at this point, you just have to take whatever you can get. Boom. Because the alternative is you're going to have to buy him out.
Boom. That part right there. Whatever it is you can get. You know what, Go? Sometimes it's really annoying listening to you. You know why? Because you are so freaking good and smart and logical that I'll just be sitting here listening to you damn, this dude is brilliant. And I know that
Coco in the chat just said, "Goat, much better GM than AK."
That's my point. I know that what it's up there isn't it. And I know what they're thinking and how they're thinking, and that's what makes it annoying because I know everything he's saying is the correct thing and it's the right thing, and it's like, yes, this is exactly how it should go down. This makes all the sense in the world.
It's just logic. It's
But
not like
I know,
brilliance.
I know,
It's like
I
this
know.
is just like the right steps to take.
Well, that's
I
what
know.
Dave, you were saying to me earlier when we were
Oh,
talking about the
God.
Bobby Marks thing, and you said that's where Bobby Marks lost me is when he posed the question: is it more logical
Right.
for the Chicago Bulls to fill in the blank?
Yeah.
Well, can't be banking on that round here,
Yeah,
Bobby.
man, not around here, Bert.
But I think that's like, I don't know what they're going to do, and I don't know how they're even really thinking about this right now. But like the thing that I think they have to be thinking about, just from like because what I always say is like you just follow the money, right?
Yeah.
Like that's how a lot of these decisions are made, especially in the apron era. You follow the money, and so when you're in a point where you've worked really hard to get all this flexibility, and again, Arturs did a really good job of doing that, getting off of the Zach LaVine contract and setting yourself up with 2 expiring like $18 million contracts this year puts you in a much better spot financially than they were in at this time last year. So Arturs has done a good job there, but now it's time to make use of that. And that's where you still have to have some optimism that at least they understand how the flexibility piece works and they understand the value in that flexibility. So hopefully they know that flexibility can matter to other teams too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the currency that they have to work with right now because they don't have picks or they shouldn't trade their picks.
Way to bring me back in from the ledge, bro. Good job.
Speaking of making use of things, last thing we wanted to touch on today, Bulls Nation. Got a bit of Bulls reporting from Jake Fischer. If you aren't subscribing to that Steinline Substack that he does, great NBA reporting from him and our pal Mark Stein. You should be. You're missing out. Fischer mentioning today that the Bulls were granted a disabled player exception for Noa Essengue. According to league sources, the rookie forward is out for the season due to that shoulder surgery. So what does it mean? It means a little bit of money that the Bulls could spend if they wanted to, making up for half of Noah's rookie year salary. The Bulls, as Marks pointed out today or yesterday, are $18.7 million under that first apron and hard capped. You added some context to Jake Fisher's tweet about that, mentioning the biannual, the significant portion of the mid-level exception the Bulls still have at their disposal. But the big question being, their roster's at 15. They might turn into sellers, not buyers, at the deadline. Do we think that they're going to use any of these exceptions they have?
The fact that people are bringing up the first apron with the Bulls is kind of funny because it would require them to go into the luxury tax in order to even get close to that.
Curse your tongue.
So yeah, just real quickly because I know we're running low on time here. Essengue, disabled player exception, $2.7 million. It accounts for half of his salary this year, which the rookie scale deal that he is on is $5.4 million. So you get an additional $2.7 that you can use to sign a player or trade for a player. You can absorb that into a trade. The problem is the Bulls already have 15 players under roster. So in order for them to use any of that, they would either have to waive guys or they'd have to trade out like 3 for 2 or 2 for 1 in order to open up a roster spot to be able to do anything with that. It expires, I believe, March 10th is the last day you can use that. But the reason for me that it is kind of just like a nothing burger is that you also have $6.1 million left in the trade exception that you got for Zach LaVine. That was $17 million. You took Okoro into that in the Lonzo Ball trade, which I think there was like some weird cap mechanism that forced them to do that, even though they didn't need to, which I think is kind of a bummer because that could have come in really handy, $17 million. But you still have your full non-tax MLE. The mid-level exception is $14.1 million. Okay. So you can take in a player. You can use that as a trade exception to take in a player that's worth up to $14 million for nothing. You don't have to send anything back. That can be really valuable. And you also have the biannual exception, which is 5.1, same deal. The problem is that the Bulls are 15 players under roster. So in order for them to do that, they would have to waive or cut someone. And maybe they do that, like Javon Carter, Vooch, all these guys. Like if they can't figure out what to do with them at the deadline, then they should waive them. The problem is at that point, it's too late to absorb anybody in via trade because it's after the deadline. Yes, so they do have to start wheeling and dealing here. We saw this with Lonzo a couple of years ago where they got the disabled player exception and never used it because they were too close to the luxury tax. This year, they're about $13 million away from the luxury tax, so they still can take in more money. It's just that they don't really have the roster spot to do that. So for me, the priority is still combining contracts, expiring picks to take on longer term money. Let's say you do a 2 for 1. If it's, Huerter and Collins, you can take back $30 million or even like $35 million. And now you're helping offload some money from the opposing team and you're opening up a roster spot, which you can then use to take in another player for up to $14 million that, helps a team get off of some money, and you can get a pick for that too. So it's just all about like roster churn, getting the expiring contracts for picks, and then like consolidating spots so that you can do it again. That has to be their whole MO.
As we're coming up on just a little bit of OT here, heading to overtime, reminder, if you're watching on one of our various streaming services and partners, Roku, Comcast, Samsung TV, appreciate you. If you want the bonus coverage when we go over an hour, just head to allchgo.com. Travis McKnight asking, can the Bulls get a disabled front office exception? Is that a thing that exists? Boy, I wish. Meanwhile, shout out to Orange Chicken 37, who threw us a $9.99 super chat. Appreciate you, Orange Chicken, saying AK doesn't have a plan. He'll sit on his hands and do nothing. He didn't sell when he should have with Levine, DeRozan, Vooch, etc. He won't trade Kobe. They won't make any trades. GOAT for GM. FAK.
And like the thing is, like you do get better at your job after going through. Like it's theoretically possible for you to.
I was going to say, like,
get
you better
better.
throw the word theoretically in there pretty freaking soon.
It is possible to get better. So hopefully, my point is, hopefully they're learning from some of these mistakes. But like, this is go time. This is when they have to prove that they've learned from those mistakes and learned how to adjust and get into a positive situation out of it. So again, I do really put a lot of emphasis on this trade deadline because this is going to tell me a lot about how the team views itself, how they view their future, and whether or not they've learned about how to build a roster in the modern NBA. And if you don't do any of those things, then it's going to tell me that they haven't.
Well, I was just going to say, you can also say the mantra of the longer that you're in a job, the more that you insulate yourself because you're trying to protect the security of said job. And that can also put up like guardrails and blind spots to, instead of maybe trying to get out and be creative or be bold to try and remake the thing in your own image, you try and instead shrink it and just stay the course and get tunnel vision to protect the security of the job. And I understand that there's a lot of loyalty between the coach to the GM to the chairman. I totally understand that.
Sure.
But what does loyalty actually mean if you can't go out and be bold or take things down to the studs and be a bad team for a couple of years with that trust and loyalty that what you're doing has a creativity or an innovation that might take them out of the situation they're in.
Yeah,
on,
and I mean,
Joey C.
the only answer to that is like, look, they have job security now. They just signed extensions. Like they have runway to make some hard decisions. And I know that they don't want to be, and I know that they don't want to be bad on purpose. They don't want to tank. But like I said, you can take on a good player who's who's on a bad contract and still get a pick with it. Like there are opportunities there to do that.
Yeah. As opposed to like Bulls who currently have bad players on bad contracts.
And like, I don't think it would be wise for them to attach a pick right now to get off of a bad contract, but they have to be willing to take on some bad contract. Like there's plenty. I mean, Paul George is a good player still.
Yeah.
Like if the 76ers are like, we actually prefer flexibility, want to rebuild and continue to build this thing around Edgecombe and Maxey, but we've got these two huge contracts that we can't get off of. Like Bulls, you get Paul George, but we're going to give you a pick too. Like that helps you now, and it gets you a pick for your future. Those are the kind of moves that they can still make, whether they want to tank or not. And like it still accomplishes both goals. The fact that they haven't done that in the past, I think, is less of an indication of like their unwillingness to take on bad money and more a reality of their financial situation. They've been so close to the luxury tax and such a poor team that there's no reason to go into the luxury tax. I don't blame them for that. But now they have space. Now they have flexibility. Now's the time where they can prove they are willing to do that. And maybe it actually helps, like adding Paul George in. You know, he's a better defender than anybody else that the three of the Bulls have. Like maybe he helps slot everybody into the right position and you get an extra pick out of it. Like that would be a great deal for the Bulls, even though you're saddled now with this bad contract. But like the good teams, the way they're doing it, the Nets are a great example. You take on Michael Porter Jr.'s contract, you get the Nuggets off of $17 million in cap space, and you get a really juicy 2032 pick from the Nuggets, who are probably not going to have Jokic at that point.
Right.
That could be a really good pick. And so now you bring Michael Porter in. He's playing out of his mind. He's like fringe all-star. And maybe now you can trade him for a draft pick. And so you're getting picks coming and going. That's what they should be doing. It helps them. It helps slot some of their guys into the right position. He's playing well, and then maybe you flip him for a first-round pick down the line. Like that's how the Bulls need to be operating here. And again, I think they should have been doing this. They should have been like all in on doing this in the past. But I understand the inflexibility that they had. Now they have the flexibility, and they're still not good. This is what they need to do, and if they don't do that, it just reinforces the fact that they don't really know how to get themselves out of this, or they're unwilling to do the things that are necessary.
And final thought when you quit and wrap up. I think you have been right over the last couple of years to point out that it was AK's fault for putting himself in this rock and hard play situation, but he really did not have a lot of moves to make when it came to
other
in-season
than
trade deadline.
strip it down.
Other than strip it down, and he refused to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Coming into this year, and now where you are, 10-15, having lost 15 of your last 20.
Shout out.
Yo, what do you have? What are you holding on to? You also have 7 expiring contracts.
7?
We've been upset with them, and AK specifically, for holding firm and standing pat at the trade deadline several times in the last handful of years. They did, of course, a week before the deadline, trade Zach LaVine this past season, but a lot of inaction from AK in season, and it's frustrated us. This time around, I think, is the biggest zero excuses. You cannot stand firm, because if you don't, and just let all these contracts expire and let these guys walk out the door and or either that or just overpay them to stay on a team going nowhere this summer, what the hell are you doing?
What are you doing?
You have to make some trades, AK.
Do something.
Pick up the phone.
Call.
And I do think they will, but I just don't know what direction they'll go. They could still
That part.
try to get a guy that can help them now, and I don't think they're going to trade any draft picks. I just don't think that I think they know they're in a position where they can't really do that. But if they turn, Kobe and Patrick Williams or something into Anthony Davis, what's the plan here? I think that ship has sailed. So I think that they will make some moves. I would implore them to go the direction I've just been explaining, because otherwise you're just spinning your wheels in the play-in again for the next. And I think the other thing is the reason why I think this period of time is so important is that it sets them up for the next 2 to 4 years, right? What they do with all this cap space, you're not signing everybody to a 1-year deal. You're signing 2, 3, 4-year contracts. Or, they did the Trey Jones deal as a 2+1. This sets up your next 2 or 3 years. So if you're locking yourself into this same team for the next 2 or 3 years, then you're locking yourself into this same outcome for the next 2 or 3 years, which means you can't even change directions again for 2 or 3 more years. And then once it's time to do that, then you've got to start rebuilding again. So I do think that it's really important, not only because of the flexibility that they have, but the opportunity cost of not doing it now just means you're wasting more time and then having to do it again in 2 or 3 or 4 years while you've just gone through this whole process of, maybe we can be a 6th seed again and just not getting there.
No,
it would be a complete waste of time.
Because you're avoiding what you need to do, what you have to do. It's like avoiding the surgery, putting it off. No, bro, you have to have the surgery. This has to be repaired and fixed. Go putting a Band-Aid on that shit.
Go just saying.
Brilliant stuff.
The hypothetical of keeping this roster together for another 1 to 2 years literally just short-circuited my brain.
Oh, man, I told you I was annoyed, man.
We're on the road.
I'm annoyed with all this brilliance.
Those are, okay.
It's trash, bro.
That would be obviously a bad outcome. But they're also in a position now where they can really change their fate.
Yes.
It's not just that the one thing would be bad. It's that the right thing could be really good. If they get a couple extra picks, that could really set them up. And now you've got flexibility. You can take on some,
Sure.
And then you can still keep building with Josh and Modest and whoever you want to build with, but you also have some extra ammunition, which is something that they just have not had. And maybe you trade those picks and you get a star player. It doesn't have to be a 5-year teardown, strip it to the studs, and just see what happens with your own draft pick. They can't do that again. They need to get more picks. They need to get more currency so that they can be a part of this ecosystem, which they just have not been able to participate in because of their lack of flexibility. This is their chance now to sit down at the table and play the game.
I have no interest in learning more about AK's ecosystem. It's a swamp of nuclear waste. All right, we'll get out of here for today. Bulls back in action tomorrow night. Yeah. Woo! Bulls Cavs, still a home game for the Bulls. They'll be tipping off at 7. We will have live pregame at 6:30. Goat will be at the UC reporting from that one. And then we'll have postgame after the fact. If you haven't read Goat's column yet, 7 different trade ideas for Alec Jacoby White. Speaking of all these trade deadline scenarios, give that a read. It's for diehards only. Sign up to become a diehard if you haven't done that yet. Check that off your list.
It's good.
Follow Will Gottlieb. Big Day Bow. BWL Sports. I'm Bulls _ Peck. We are CHGO _ Bulls. Shout out to our king of the controls, the one and only Joey C. We'll be back tomorrow night. Enjoy your evening. NBA Cup championship.
Yeah.
Who's going to raise a fake banner?
Who's going to do it?
Let's find out together. We'll talk
For
to
some
y'all
real money.
tomorrow for pregame. Appreciate you, Bulls Nation. Hit the like on your way out. See you, Rep. Be good.
Love y'all, man. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.